We didn't design Forge North to be a new organization or a new program. We created it to get things done together. My job is to help lead MiniStar. We're a nonprofit that's built to serve an incredible community of technologists. For years, our events have helped tech entrepreneurs demo products and introduce new ideas. We play an important role in the ecosystem. So do others. Think about all the programs that exist, from competitions to incubators and accelerators. All of them exist to serve the risk takers who are working every day to solve problems, start ventures, and scale their impact. We built Forge North so we can accelerate their work. It's how I've been able to partner with accelerators, connect to the food or healthcare community, or refer our demo participants to new investors and programs. It's how we've shown up as a team everywhere from Texas to Toronto, and it's inspiring us to dream bigger. Entrepreneurs travel different paths and they move at their own pace. Some of them bootstrap and some raise venture money. Some need mentorship and expertise that others don't. If we're not working together as a community to connect more inclusively, to celebrate each other more proudly, to challenge ourselves to dream bigger, we're not only letting those problem solvers down, we're limiting our own potential. We worked with the GREATER MSP Partnership because we needed a strong platform to collaborate. Each of us has a superpower. We need a lot more heroes to join us in this effort. It's hard to describe Forge North because I can't compare it to anything else. It's a rally cry. It's how we work together. And it's where we're going next.
Welcome. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Brett Carter with Excel, and I've got my co-chair with me here.
Hi, I'm Amy Langer. Welcome.
The two of us have had the pleasure of chairing the Forge North Leadership Council for the past year. We're also board members of the Greater MSP Partnership, an economic development partnership of more than 200 organizations working together to accelerate the competitiveness and inclusive growth of the Minneapolis-Saint Paul region. We set out in 2020 to do three things: set big goals for our startup community, identify a set of strategic priorities to guide our work, and develop a model for how we work together as a coalition. We're excited to share that with you today. We're going to start working together to achieve these goals. So I'd like to introduce Damola to provide us with a reminder of why Forge North was created in the first place.
Thanks a lot, Brett. Hi, everybody. I'm Damola Gundape, co-founder and CEO of Civic Eagle. We didn't start Forge North to build another program. It was to have a space where we can work together on big systemic issues in our startup community. There are a lot of efforts in cities all around the country, and I've seen a lot of them. And most have absolutely no idea what they're doing, if we're being honest. They don't have the determination, the cultural and social buy-in, or just frankly, the talent that we have in the Twin Cities to make the improvements we're committed to making. All of us on the Forge North Leadership Council spent 2020 listening to you and hundreds of others to make sure that we set the right priorities for our work together in the coming years. We've set three main goals, and for each goal, we've identified three priorities that can guide our coalition for the months and years to come. We're excited to tell you about them, but we're even more excited to do the work. Now I'll introduce you to my teammates, Brian and Ann, to go over our goals and priorities.
Thanks, Damola. We're going to walk you through one of the important goals that we've set. I'm Ann Holder, the CEO and founder of Odinata Health, a company developing medical technology. And we started here in Minnesota, focused on improving fetal and maternal outcomes. Brian, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Ann. I'm Brian Gustafson, and I'm an investment manager with Tonkawa, which is the Carlson family office. The first goal that we'd like to describe is the goal to double the number of companies raising rounds of early stage capital. We chose this goal because although we lead the country in business survival rates, our rate of actually starting new companies is quite low, and that's a barrier.
And there are a number of ways that we can tackle this challenge together as a region. The first is to have more checks written. We need more people writing these checks. We need to work together as a region to significantly increase the number of active Minnesota investors that have the capacity to do so. Secondly, we know there are increasing numbers of investors around the country and the world who are open to making investments anywhere, including internationally. We need to intentionally connect these investors to our region through loud, sustained campaigns, events, and a lot more.
And thirdly, we will work as a coalition with current and prospective entrepreneurs to demystify how the game of capital raising is played and how it's won. We already see that type of education being an effective tool in many of the leading startup hubs around the world. And we know that we can do a better job of working with entrepreneurs in our backyard so that they are as savvy as any startup anywhere as they plan their fundraising process and begin approaching investors. Now we'd like to turn things over to Mary and Mike to talk about the second goal.
Thank you, Brian and Ann. Hello, I'm Michael Jones, President and COO for TCF Bank.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Grove, and I'm Managing Partner at Bread and Butter Ventures, an early stage venture capital firm investing nationally, but based here in Minnesota and really leveraging our Minnesota home field advantage. The goal that we've set is to ensure that 100% of our region's billion-dollar companies have meaningful participation in our region's startup ecosystem. Now, we chose this goal because of our high concentration of headquarters gives us a real competitive advantage for the region. Now, these companies can be either customers, they can be investors, they can be partners with talent and expertise, and they can also support our region's entrepreneurial programs. Now, these aren't the only companies we want to be engaged with startups, but we know that focusing on them will have a ripple effect.
We recently completed an audit of more than 30 of these companies and their engagement with different startups. We've discovered a few things to guide our priorities as we enter into 2021 and look to execute on these strategies over the next several years. First, we were surprised how many companies want to get more engaged but don't know where to start. We're going to make sure they have a roadmap to execute. Second, there's strong interest in having a shared platform for enterprise innovation teams to work together and surface shared challenges that startups can help solve. Much of this can be industry specific, but some needs transcend firms. Third, we know that securing an early paid pilot or contract with a major company can be a significant milestone for startups. Beyond this selection and matching process, we heard a desire for a more systematic approach that can produce results.
Now, these goals are very interconnected. So the companies we talked with can also play an important role in our early stage capital goal, including efforts to reach individual business leaders with the capacity to become investors. And most companies we interviewed also expressed a strong interest in advancing racial equity. And with that, I'd love to introduce Jess and Michelle to discuss our next goal.
Thank you, Mary. I'm Jessica Berg. I'm the director of the Minnesota Cup. MinCup is a new venture competition for early stage startups in Minnesota, and we're powered by the time, skills, and financial contributions of this community. So I'm going to kick it to Michelle to introduce herself too.
Thank you, Jess. Hi, I'm Michelle Tran-Marins, Sparkler-in-Chief at We Sparkle, a B2B SaaS social enterprise equipping underestimated entrepreneurs with the AI-powered tools they need to succeed.
So to frame up the overarching goal for you, we have collectively decided to focus on making sure that startup ownership is reflective of our region's racial diversity. There's so much within that to unpack, but we distinctly chose the word ownership rather than just participation or work within a startup, because we really want to see people of color financially benefiting from the opportunity and success and potential exits that happen within the startup community. And we see this as a huge critical step in moving the needle on closing the wealth gap between white people and people of color in Minnesota, which is just one of a lot of different really extreme disparities that we see, and we want to tackle it head on. We will initially focus on measuring these outcomes and measuring the startup ownership within the accelerator and incubator programs within our region as a starting point. But this is a goal that has so many different layers and facets to it. And so we will try to continually evolve and improve those metrics as we go further into our work. So I'm going to turn it over to Michelle to share a little bit more about each one of those priorities.
We have identified 3 major priorities. First, we want to build the capacity of entrepreneurial support organizations that serve BIPOC-led startups, especially those programs that are themselves led by BIPOC individuals. As part of this capacity building, we think even more can be done to recruit BIPOC professionals to join executive teams at the startups here in our region. Second, we want to intentionally facilitate greater deal flow between BIPOC-led startups and investors around the country. This intersects with our early stage capital strategies and will focus early efforts on campaigns and events that connect BIPOC-led startups to capital. And third, we believe the region needs to open more doors for BIPOC-led startups to win commercial contracts with the large enterprises that we were just discussing earlier. There are efforts underway in our region that we need to rally around and amplify so that businesses can be built. You'll notice that these priorities intersect with those we've already discussed, meaning we can place a priority lens on all Forge North projects.
Hi, my name is Meg Stoyer and I'm the manager of Forge North. Over the last few years, I've had the privilege to work alongside hundreds of partners in creating and building Forge North and setting the goals and priorities you just heard more about from our leadership council. Now it's time to get to work to achieve them together. We have prioritized a set of strategies for 2021 projects, and Forge North partners will be working together in project teams to execute and activate this work. Engagement and involvement will look different for every member of our community, but there is a role for everyone to play. If you're interested in learning more or joining the coalition, please visit forgenorth.com.
And we look forward to seeing you more in 2021. Thank you.